exciting. So it looks like we have a pretty good turnout today.
I'm seeing the numbers click. Yeah, we're at 35. I'm
Yeah,
hoping we break 50. When we're above 50, then I'm going to be
I think we're breaking 50 today.
nice.
We had about 100 and something sign up. So it's starting.
What?
Yeah, I mean, that's good news, right?
That's yeah. Shoot, maybe I should have prepared something.
That's great.
That's
We're
nice.
doing big
I'm
things over here.
digging.
No preparation.
I'm digging whoever that was. They had the Bart Simpson, Jose Gutierrez, little Bart Simpson. What do we call it? An emoji cover?
Yeah, I don't know, but I don't know what that is.
Yeah, you're right. We're at 52. That's a high. That's a new one. That's a new record. I like that.
Okay, and I'll continue to admit people in as they come, and then I'll hand it over to you here in a second.
Awesome.
So it seems to be quite a few new guys joining us from all over, recognizing names from East Coast to West Coast today. So that's good.
Hi, guys.
Hi, there's one. What I ask is and what we ask is for everybody first and foremost, just make sure if you're not talking, keep your mics on mute. There's sometimes background noise. Sometimes we hear your mom's yelling at you in the background, and we kind of want to we don't want to include that into this this workshop unless you want to. Also, they're when you have questions, feel free, especially when we ask if there's questions somewhere at the end of this. We have a little bit of a Q&A. Feel free to speak up and ask a question or two or three or however many you may have that within our time frame that will allow us to get you as much information as we can. Also, if you have a camera, turn it on. We like to encourage as much engagement as possible. That includes, just kind of, feeding off each other's energy through just being able to see you. All right.
You said turn it on or off?
Turn the camera on. Turn the
Oh,
camera
on.
on. Camera on, mic's off. All right.
Are mic
Mario Sato, thanks for being with us again. I'm going to mute guys as they come in as well if they have a hard time finding their mute button. But thanks again. Appreciate you being with us.
You're very welcome. My pleasure. Hey, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. So I like 5 minutes ago, got off a phone call with a AA manager for Tampa. His name is Morgan Ensberg. For those of you out here on the West Coast, you probably know the name, played at USC. I think his claim to fame is he has won a championship. Let me see if I can find it. He's won a championship at almost every single level. He won at high school. Yeah, here it is. Only player in history to win 5 consecutive championships, including a 98 national championship at SC, 1998 New York Penn League for the Florida State League, High A, 99 Texas League AA, AAA Pacific League out of New Orleans in 2001. Manager of the Year in the Southern League for Tampa Bays, and last year the Employee of the Year. Really good credentials. And we were talking baseball about to some of my graduate students, and my affiliation with him is obviously some of the work I've done with Tampa Bay, but specifically my relationship with Rolando Garza, who's their pitching coach. One of the things that came out of our conversation, which I think really, really is important for both players as well as coaches, but I'm going to say even parents who are listening. But right now I need for my players to hear this. I'm going to throw this question out to you. Are you willing to look stupid right now in the short term so that you know that over time you'll look better? I'm going to repeat that. Are you willing to look stupid right now by working on something you need to be working on and you're not very good at, so that down the road you'll look the way you want to, you'll play the way you want to? And why that's such an important thing is because we're so caught up in how we look, how we're performing, trying to make this stat, trying to look good in front of scouts and coaches, that we're forgetting that our job is to focus on the process. Our job is to focus on the little adjustments that we need to make ourselves better at this craft. But we aren't always willing to pay the price, or we're not willing to pay the length of term that's required for us to learn how to master this skill set. And so then we wonder, how come I'm struggling? How come I can't hit that curveball? How come I can't see the pitch well? How come I can't find the plate? Why isn't that ump giving me those calls? I'm hitting the corner, right? How come I always, get thrown out? How come I'm getting yelled at because I missed the sign? So we get into this verbal spiral of ignorance, where we decide everybody else is to blame for our lack of success and not us. And every player, every coach, anybody who's had success, regardless of what uniform you wear, is going to tell you that talent isn't enough. It's what everybody has when you get to certain levels of the performance pyramid or of this game of baseball. And so you need to start asking yourself, what am I going to do to separate myself from everybody else? What am I going to do? And when we get to a place where you are tremendously talented and gifted and you've put in the work, and now you're being looked at, and you're being looked at by teams, and you may be drafted, that small difference of work ethic and approach can make the difference between hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars. It will make the difference between you having a career or a short-term experience in the show. Because everybody at the pro level is talented, gentlemen. Everybody. So what's going to separate you from everybody else? What's going to keep you there when every year they're bringing new talent in? Because see, that doesn't change. You're playing in high school. Oh, we got a new kid who just transferred in. Damn, he's really good. I heard he was a stud at CBA. I heard he was a stud at Perfect Game. I heard he was all this. He was all American. And he's only 15. He's a freshman. Oh, shit. So are you going to let that get in your way and get in your head and make you deviate from your plan? Or are you going to stick to your plan and keep working at getting better without letting the whispers of doubt get in your head, or somebody else's perception of what you should be doing get in your head? All right, I got a whole page here of guys whose cameras are not on. Actually, 2 pages. I need to see your faces, gentlemen. Because it's not enough. It's nice to have 80 participants here, but I need you participating. I need for you to get off your phones and be hearing me, seeing me, regardless if you're eating a banana or not. I see you, Santiago. Good man. See, because here's what matters. If you're not really present, you'll never understand the power of these words. If you're not really present and listening with your being, your body, you're going to tune some of this out. And at the end of the day, I can't help you, just like I was telling somebody today, I can't help somebody when they're not ready to be coached. So for some of you, hopefully these words will resonate and they'll sink in a little bit and make you think a little bit differently about how you approach the game. For some of you, I'm hoping that it'll develop thick skin, not thin skin, because we already have too many mental midgets in the game. We don't want to add to it. We want you to be a mental warrior. And so mental warriors do things differently. Mental warriors approach the game differently. they're willing to look stupid. They're willing to look bad, knowing that they're working on something, and that every at-bat, every swing, every failure, every mistake, is one step closer to a breakthrough. It's one step closer to getting it. It's one step closer to the hit streak. And so I need for you to always have the power of optimism. I need for you to write this down. You must be optimistic when you play this game, not pessimistic. You must ask yourself, what feedback am I getting? Or you must let your coach give you feedback so that you can learn how to make the adjustment from at-bat to at-bat, from pitcher to pitcher, from inning to inning, or practice to practice. If you have that open mind of optimism, you're going to be very coachable. You're going to be able to absorb more information. If you have a negative pessimistic mind, you've narrowed down your ability to take in information and process it. You're always going to be having an emotional roller coaster, and your performance is going to be like a roller coaster ride. Highs, lows, highs, lows, highs, lows. That's not going to get you a scholarship. That's not going to get you onto the select A squad. It's certainly not going to keep you there if you're there because of your talent. It's not what's going to help you stand out the right way amongst coaches checking you out. So I need for you to be willing to look stupid. Maybe we change that word. Look silly. To be struggling. And embrace what that means. Because if you're learning from every struggle, you're getting better. I tell my students, I tell all my athletes, I want you to welcome adversity, because it's in adversity, in times of adversity that you grow, that you build on this foundation of character. And when you do that, you become real attractive to other coaches. And other teammates start looking at you in the form of leader. You start having those two things going for you, man, your confidence is always going to be high. Your marketability is always going to be high because people are going to talk about you the right way. People want to be associated with people like that. So my question becomes, okay, which kind of player are you? Are you the optimist or are you the pessimist? Are you the guy who believes I'm one swing away from a hit streak because I've put in the work? Or I'm that one guy that's, it's all right, yeah, I struck out, coach, but I know what I did wrong. And I can't wait to get back into play. I've got that excitement. Well, wait a minute. Your mom and dad are yelling, man, Mijo, you struck out again. What's going on? Or your batting coach telling you, what's the matter with you? Or your little sister's yelling at you, what's the matter with you? You got to learn how to tune that out because you know what you and your coach are working on. And you're continuing to stay on that path and not change it. Does that make sense? Trying to get some, I'm looking at the page to see if I get some buy-in. I need to see some head movement, some Pez dispenser movement. Dylan Alanis, where are you, Dylan? Are you here? Did he not join us today?
I don't see him on there.
Okay, that's too bad. I was going to ask him how he enjoyed the imagery work we did last week. One other thing I want to bring up. How many of you players feel that you always need for coaches to tell you what you need to do? Give me a show of hands. Okay, we got Kay, we got Richard, a couple of them. Okay, I'm going to pick on someone just because I think, keep your hands up. Okay, Ricardo Quintana, unmute yourself. Why do you feel you need to get constant feedback from a coach?
Sometimes I just don't sometimes I'm thinking about like it's maybe another thing, but sometimes coach has other input of what I'm doing wrong, and I think about it, and sometimes that's probably the right thing that's wrong. With
So maybe there's not something wrong. I want you to think about that. Maybe you did everything right, but that other person that you're facing, the opponent, maybe they did something just a little better. You know, maybe we didn't guess correctly. We were thinking fastball and the guy just threw a nasty changeup. Okay? Doesn't mean you did something wrong. It just means you didn't get the outcome you wanted. So that's where we got to get rid of this emotion or this thought that it's the only way I know I did something right is if I had a good outcome, like I got a hit. Sometimes you could do everything wrong and you get lucky, and it's a duck fart that lands in the pond, right? Lands somewhere out in the field, it finds grass, open space, you get on base. It was a really shitty at bat, but somehow you got on base, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so don't let yourself get caught up in just the stat.
Okay.
Okay, it's real important. Just keep working at whatever it is that you're working on that week, and ask if you need to, what'd you think, coach? But before you do that, I want you to ask yourself, how do I think I did? Was it a nice level swing? Did I make good contact? Am I seeing the ball? Go through these little processes, these little checklists to answer that question for yourself. Because a more dangerous player is a player who has confidence. That confidence is built by not doubting, but understanding. Okay?
All right. Okay.
Yeah, you don't need to ask everybody and their brother for their opinion. I need for you to trust your own. All right, good. I love that. And thank you for that. I appreciate you, Ricardo.
All right, no problem.
And this one I'm gonna leave for coaches, because I'm doing a training module for coaches right now in a whole nother sport. And it's fascinating, the information and the questions that are kind of percolating in my head. Coaches, I need for you to have the philosophy that when we coach, we're teaching. And that when we're teaching, we're hoping that we will teach ourselves out of a job. And what do I mean by that? We need to be able to give such good information that the individual who's taking in that information feels so prepared and confident that they don't need us. That, like Mr. Quintana said, I don't need to come to you and ask you for feedback. They know, because they're going through that methodical checklist that we're helping them learn how to be able to create on their own and then take ownership of. Yeah, I think sometimes we focus so much on the players that we forget, even for us as ourselves as coaches and mentors and teachers, we need to sometimes make sure the information that we're giving them, the way we present the information, the acknowledgement and the understanding of that information is as important as anything we do, so that we can sit back and we can kind of be fans of the game and cheerlead and be a part of the success. And if we can start doing that, imagine the enthusiasm in the dugout. Imagine the ripple effect that it will happen and become contagious. That's a part of the team anybody wants to pay to be a part of. That's the program that people will want to be affiliated with. So I want to challenge both the players. I want to challenge all of us coaches. Let's look at the game differently. Let's look at how we communicate with one another and how the kids approach the game in a healthier mental way. And it's hard to do that, especially in travel ball. So that's why this is a great laboratory to do these experiments in. All right. Questions?
So I kind of wanted to piggyback off that a little bit if we can, just maybe
Yes.
something to parents on that, during the first lockdown here in California where businesses were shut down and, baseball was pretty much non-existent. I started working with a couple kids on hitting individually, and guys were starting to, make some changes, make some adjustments, and when we were able to get back on the field, you could see they were a much better hitter, after maybe 3 months of work. But then as soon as they don't get the outcome they want in a game or a tournament, hey, parents are, I'm getting text messages. When can you work with little Johnny again? And, the thing is like the best hitting coach I had, or one of the best I ever had, I was actually in college and I was working with the guy that was outside of the college program. And he had told me, I'm going to work with you for about a month, maybe 2 months, but after that, you should never have to see me again.
Mm-hmm.
It's something where you take this information and you use it, you're going to know how to hit, and you're not going to need me to give you all that feedback all the time. So I remember that, and I remember I just kind of felt like up to that point I was on the hamster wheel where I was relying on coaching all the time to make sure, to help me get the outcomes that I wanted. And so, I just kind of wanted to, direct that to parents as well. Sometimes the outcomes, you could do everything right, and in baseball is a tough sport. You can do everything right, and you're not going to get the outcome you want. And that could go over the course of a tournament, over the course of a month, 2 months. And shoot, in professional baseball, you can have a bad July and August, and in September you're hot again, So it's not so much the I think it's more the confidence in knowing that you already know how to play the game, right? And one of the recurring themes I want to keep bringing back to players is, how you're learning the game now with us. This is how you're going to play it the rest of your career. It's never going to change. It's always going to stay the same. So just there's no reinventing the wheel at the next level. It's just a little bit faster pace. And so you get the fundamentals down, you get the baseball IQ down. You start gaining confidence the longer you play the game. It does become easier, because you get more confident. So
yes. So let me compliment what you just said. At anything, you can't shortcut experience, and the longer you do something, you cannot help but get better at it. That includes parenting. That includes being married. That includes working at a sport, working at a job. So you got to be patient, because there's stuff you have to go through to learn. And that's why failure is such a great teacher. I have a kid that, different sport, and I'll give you a real short Cliff Notes version. She's a really talented athlete. And I did a favor to a friend. I came and I watched her. I came and I talked to her. Had a really good day. Watched her in a second performance on another different day. And when she came out of her ring, we talked, and she did not want to take in any information. She knew it all, even though she basically pooped all down her leg. It was that bad. But yet she knew everything, could not be coached, and then started talking back to me, and then started basically telling me how to do my job. And I was like, okay, time out. I don't know who you think you are, but until you have more gray hair than me, you don't know more than me. Number two, I don't work with people who aren't coachable. I don't give a shit what your last name is. I don't care how many zeros you have in your bank account. I don't care how much money your mom and dad have. That's not how I work. I'm doing you a favor. And if you don't see it that way, that's fine. I wish you well. God bless you. I got to go. And I left. And so she wrote an email back to me trying to apologize. And I answered her in a very cryptic, very short way. A week later, her mom reached out to me trying to apologize for her daughter's actions. And I told her what I'm going to tell you. Sometimes you need to stand in your shit for a while so that you can see how uncomfortable and smelly it is. And it's yours because you created it. And when you mature enough and understand how bad this is, you will decide to get out of it and clean your shoes and never step in your own mess again. That is as powerful a message for us as coaches, for us as parents, as it is for players. Take ownership of your shit. Take ownership of the mess you created. Because when you do, you will start taking ownership of your success and your struggles. Parents, and I'm speaking as a parent who made these mistakes and learned so much because of the mistakes I made. And I to this day, I apologize to my kids for them having been my guinea pigs. If I could go back and do it over again, I would not have saved them from their own mess. Because when you do, sometimes you create a bigger mess. So parents, be patient. Do not parent out of fear. Do not watch your kids through a lens of perspiration and desperation. Failure is what the game is all about. Failure is what life is about. Sometimes stuff turns upside down. Welcome to the world of COVID. How are you managing it now? Nobody was prepared for this, but how sports can teach everyone such wonderful lessons will be an indicator of how well you will learn how to manage life when it hits you right between the eyes. And how do you get there? You don't shortcut it. You have to go through shit. So I'm hoping that you allow yourselves to do that. Coaches, talk to the parents. This is what I'm working with little Nico on. Be patient. Don't just be patient with him. Be patient with me, because I have your kid's best interest at heart. You have to have that conversation, coaches, with the parents. Because every parent, for them, their kid is everything. And that's a valid feeling. And so we have to validate and earn that trust by helping them understand you're going to take care of their kid. And that struggling is okay. We're not making fun of them. We're not purposely wanting to make your kid look stupid. But let's define what this is and what we're doing, because they're not looking stupid. They're working on something so that they will make you proud, and you can be proud of what they're doing, because this takes courage. Okay, I'm done being a cheerleader. Antonio, dude, that's a serious close-up, man. All right, any questions? That might be the best conversation I've had with a group in a long time.
Awesome. Yeah,
So,
parents too. Parents.
Marinate on what I said. Sorry, Joe, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Fine.
Please let this sink in. Journal, write this down. Think about it. Write what your thoughts are regarding this. What's something, Dallas, Nathan, what's something you guys are doing that you're struggling with, that you need to take more ownership of? How do you feel when you hear somebody like a parent or an uncle or somebody who's close to you say, dude, you look like shit today? Because you know that gets under your skin. Maybe you're the one who's saying that to yourself. And you got to learn how to be able to put that voice in check and substitute it with the cheerleader's voice and say, no, I'm working on this. I'm good. I'm good. I don't need this. That's not helping me. And work on that. Because you learn how to develop thick skin, then you start developing grit. You start developing grit, you're going to be special. That's what baseball's supposed to teach you. But you got to stay in it and walk through lots of piles of shit to get there, to the other side. Okay. No more shit.
Hey, Mario,
Yes, sir.
this is Jimmy Lee. I have a question for you about this mental toughness. Are there some books that you would recommend for different age levels of mental toughness that graduates up to the level where you've got a beginning high school student versus a beginning college student versus a AAA versus a major league? What's a good book we could read?
You know, it's interesting. There's a lot, and I'm smiling because you said we. Are you gonna read it, or is your little guy gonna read it? Okay.
We're
Should
both
I
gonna
ask
read
him?
Yeah.
So, every baseball player, regardless of where they are, even if they're a pro player, Heads Up Baseball by Dr. Ken Ravizza. Heads Up Baseball. It is, I refer to it as the Bible. I got my autographed version of Ken's, and then I have like two that I always keep spare. The other one that I think is a really interesting read is Mind Gym by Gary Mack, M-A-C-K. You can get these for like $6, $7 used on Amazon. And then for coaches, I just got this. I just ordered it, and it came through my conversation with Morgan. It's called Whale Done, W-H-A-L-E-D-O-N-E by Ken Blanchard. And it's all about coaching, communicating. So I'm always big on books. I've got probably the best collection ever of partially read books, especially in the world of sport. And so I'm always looking for stuff. So yeah, so if you guys pound through those books, Jimmy, hit me up. I've got another one for you. Okay. Anybody
Mario,
else?
can you write it down on the chat message that way everybody
Yes.
can see it?
I will do that. I will do that. In fact, yeah, I'll do that right now. And Heads Up Baseball, make sure you get the old version, not the 2.0.
Yeah, so for everybody else in here while he writes that down, guys, I see some guys have been in here every week in, week out for the last, several months now, and continue to make this a priority. The mental side of this game is what kind of carries you through your career, through the ups and downs, because there's going to be a lot of downs. Baseball is a very negative sport. All right. So there's going to be a lot of downs, and when you're a kid too, those downs could be, a little tougher, especially when you have parents that are, breathing down your back. So we just got to, continue to build that mental toughness. From a recruiting perspective, colleges do not bear down on players who aren't tough mentally. Very rarely do we ever hear, about, from a college, how was that player's stats in high school? Very rare that we hear stuff like that. It's generally how are his grades? How tough is he? Can he play shortstop at the next level? But mostly it comes down to toughness at the end of the day. Okay. And every single one of our guys in our program, and I sincerely believe this, has a very good chance to play college baseball, maybe even professionally for a lot of you guys, if you bear down on the toughness side of things. So make the mental side of this game of utmost importance. Make it the highest priority possible. All right. Continue to come back.
One last thing for coaches, and I guess for parents too. Tonight I'm doing a Zoom call with the college men's water polo team. And tonight's theme is going to be about how well the guys are taking care of themselves, given this COVID environment. There's a lot of stress everywhere, in every home, all across this country for sure. And so we cannot ignore it. And so sports, more so now than ever, has to be an outlet. It has to be that thing that brings us joy, that lets us breathe, that lets us get out and sweat and we have to be cognizant of this, parents but more coaches, that everyone's got stuff going on. Everyone's lives has been disrupted. And so we need organization, we need structure, we need an activity, and we need something to be able to laugh and smile about. So maybe we learn how to modulate how we're coaching our kids right now, because the atmosphere is just so tense. But it always comes down to making sure they know we got their back. So I just want you to remember this, because right now, there's a lot of people who are hurting. And I don't care how old they are. We all know what it's like right now, especially if we're in this world of uncertainty. You're not sure if your job is going to, pay you through next week. Some people aren't sure whether or not they're going to have rent to pay. They're looking for alternative housing, food. I mean, there's stuff we cannot ignore. And it's awful hard for a 14-year-old kid to be able to process that like an adult 55-year-old can. So let's just be aware of that, and let's maybe acknowledge it before the start of practice. So that if kids need to purge, kids need to talk to somebody, they can. And if they need to cry on a coach's shoulder, let them. And then after that small little period, let's go play. Let's have some fun now. You've earned this. Let's make these next 2 hours special, because it may be the only 2 hours of fun that they're going to have for a while. That's when we start understanding how powerful our roles are as coaches and mentors, and how awesome this game can be. All right, I'm done.
Awesome. All right, everybody. That's pretty much it for today. Mario, I sent you a private message if you could take a look at that really fast. But everybody else, hope to see you guys all next week. Good to see new faces. Great to see the ones that keep coming back. All right. You guys all
right, guys.
Have a great week. See ya.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.